Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 21. In the beginning. Vidura travelled towards the banks of the Ganga where sage Maitreya had his ashrama. He went there. After saluting the rishi, Vidura told him about the meeting he had with Uddhava and said, I have come to you to learn the lesson which the Lord taught to Uddhava. I was told that you will be good enough to tell me. It is the wish of Krishna that I should learn it from you. Maitreya said, I am happy you have come to me. Tell me what is troubling you, and I will try to clear your doubts. Vidura said, Wise one, I have lived in this world all these years, and I have lived in the midst of different people. I have known good men, and I have lived with bad men too. But, different as they are in every characteristic, they are all alike in one thing. People, I have noticed, perform actions with but one desire, happiness. Strangely enough, their sorrow, pain and not pleasure, is the fruit they reap out of their actions. I asked myself, is there then no way of avoiding this? What light can be thrown on this problem which has been teasing me since so many years? What should man do in order to avoid pain? The pain which results from his actions. I thought that I had finally found the answer to my question. Listening to the stories of the Lord and thinking only of Him helps man to solve this problem. People like you, my Lord, who have been devotees of Narayana, are in this world with only one purpose: to lead erring humanity towards God, to tell them the story of the Lord, of His glory, and lead them in the path of devotion. Please teach me, and through me teach the world in general the path to Lord. We have great pleasure in listening to the story. The great Vyasa taught us the Mahabharata. In relating the story to us, he has taught man about the rules of conduct. Vyasa had taught us that attachment to things of the world leads but to pain, and he has taught us the many nuances of dharma. But we want more. We want to drink in the praises of Narayana. Please relate to me the story of the many avatars of Narayana. Tell me about the many acts which he has performed, as a result of which the world has been purified again and again. Maitreya smiled his appreciation and said, It is but meet that you should ask these questions of me, since you are the incarnation of Dharma. I am very pleased with you. I will be only too happy to relate to you the entire story of the Lord. I will begin from where it all began. It was after the great deluge. The entire earth was submerged under the waters. Narayana was absorbed in the Yoga Nidra after the Mahapralaya. He was reclining on the great serpent, Adishesha, and the entire universe had been withdrawn into him, and it lay dormant in him like fire in a piece of wood. The three gunas were in equilibrium, and therefore there was no action. And so it was for a long while. Then time caused a disturbance in the three gunas, and when the balance was upset, Out of the navel of Narayana emerged a thin stalk, which was the manifestation of Rajoguna. This grew into an immense lotus and it illuminated everything around it. Into the lotus entered Narayana in another form, which was Brahma. Considering himself to have been born on his own, Brahma found himself to be well versed in the Vedas and he found that he was alone. He looked around him in all the four directions with eyes wide open and he found that he had four heads pointing in the four directions. He saw nothing but a large expanse of water all around him, and the noise he heard was made by the immense waves of the sea. He looked down and found he was seated on a lotus and he could not discern the beginnings of the lotus stalk. He entered the stalk and traveled downwards but found nothing at the end of it. He came back to his original place and around him the waters made noise, and it seemed to him as though they said, Tapa, Tapa, perform tapas, and you will find what you seek. Brahma performed tapas seated in the lotus for 100 years. For 100 years he was absorbed in meditation. All on a sudden he saw the form of Narayana in his mind. The Lord was reclining on Adishesha, who was white like the stalk of the lotus. Brahma realized that he was the Purusha. The moment he saw the Lord, Brahma obtained wisdom. He knew what he had to do. He was made to come out of the lotus to create a new world. He worshipped Narayana with the words which came to him without his being taught them. Narayana said, I have set to you the task of creating the world and the beings on it. Brahma said, so be it. Out of the mind of Brahma were born the four rishis Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara. When they were born, Brahma said, take up the work of creation and multiply. The four rishis were bent on attaining salvation at the feet of the Lord, and so they refused to take up the work of creation. Brahma was very angry with them, but he controlled his anger. Though his reason held it in check, his anger took up a form and emerged out of his forehead. It was a child, reddish blue in hue, and he began to cry as soon as he was born. Please give me a name and place where I can stay, cried the newborn, and Brahma said, do not cry. Since you cried the moment you were born, I will call you Rudra. The heart, the senses, life, the sky, air, fire, water, the earth, the sun, the moon, and tapas, these are the places assigned to you. You can go now and produce many in your image. Brahma then created 10 sons out of his body. These were Atri, Angirasa, Pulatsya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrigu, Daksha, Marichi, Vashishta, and Narada. Dharma and Adharma were also born of Brahma. Out of his heart was born desire, and out of his brows was born anger. His shadow took a form, and this son was named Kardama. From his mind and body was created this entire world. Out of his four faces were born the four Vedas. Brahma then divided his body into two. One was male and the other female. They were called Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa. These two produced 5 children. 3 were daughters Akuti, Prasuti, and Devahuti. The sons were Priyavrata and Uttanapada. Akuti was married to a rishi by name Ruchi, Devahuti to Kardama, and Prasuti to Daksha. And the children of these, with their descendants, have populated the world.